Melanie bustled around the house. She made dinner, fed the kids, washed the dishes, and cleaned up the kitchen. She was already exhausted, but still needed to get the sheets ready for the laundry, read the kids' stories, and put them to sleep. She sat in her chair with the laundry basket for a moment. She couldn't cry. She was out of tears, so she just sat with her eyes closed and was sad for a couple of minutes. She remembered her husband with bitterness and pain, who had recently left them for his young mistress. And what about us? What about the kids? She said, trying to touch him. But he didn't care at all. He said she wasn't interesting anymore. She was actually repulsive. She had let herself go recently, wasn't taking care of herself, and looked like a peasant. But that's because I spend all my time with 3 kids and don't have time or energy for myself, she said, justifying herself. You wanted kids? You said as soon as work went well, we'd hire a nanny. And in the end, it was you who didn't want the kids going to daycare and insisted that I took care of them. What do you want? You don't help me at all. You're never home. What do I want? I want to live, preferably calmly, he answered harshly. I'm tired of busting my rear just to pay for this apartment and satisfy these kids' needs. I'm tired of the constant screams at home and the toys thrown about everywhere. I'm tired of someone always being sick and always needing to rush home. After hearing these words, Melanie couldn't believe it was the same man she had loved so. The same who had sworn to share everything in happiness and sadness. The same she had planned to grow old with. Melanie exhaled heavily, gathered her last strength, and went to put the kids to bed. The next day, she started looking for a cheaper place to live. She had some savings, but it wouldn't last long with the city apartment and 3 kids. She liked an option that had a low price. It wasn't large, but it was a cozy, suburban home. She had some doubts, but called the number. She learned from the phone call that the low price was because the house comes with an old woman. At first, Melanie couldn't believe her ears and wanted to hang up. The unpleasant person on the other end of the call said that she got the home when her husband died. The old woman living in the home of her dead spouse. She's getting married now and is moving to the city and doesn't want to live with her grandmother anymore. Not knowing why, Melanie agreed to meet. The unpleasant woman selling the house was named Susan. She showed Melanie the home and introduced her to Evelyn, the old woman who Melanie and her children would live with if she agreed to it. The house was well kept and had a nice, small garden, and the old woman seemed very sweet. They agreed on the sale, and Melanie moved there with her 3 children. Evelyn was quite quiet and nice. She found common ground with Melanie very quickly, and they lived like one big family. Melanie learned about Evelyn's hard life from her many stories. It turned out that Evelyn was from a once rich and famous family of industrialists. However, she didn't see that wealth since the business went bad long ago. As Evelyn's husband died young, so did their son. Evelyn just had her grandson Derek, who married Susan. Susan was a mean girl, jealous and selfish, and Evelyn never got along with her. When Susan got pregnant, Derek was happy. However, fate wouldn't let him see fatherhood. Derek died in an accident, and Susan got an abortion after the funeral. She said that she was still young and needed to get her life ready, and a kid would just get in the way. Susan found herself a city boy quickly and planned to marry him. Evelyn thought Susan would send her to a retirement home. However, Susan didn't even bother to do that and just sold the home with her. Melanie then told Evelyn her life story about how her husband betrayed her and how she was left with 3 children.
It's okay, dear, Evelyn said. We'll be okay. We'll figure it out.
And it was okay. Melanie gradually got things in order, took care of the kids, the home, and the garden. She took care of Evelyn like her own grandmother. One day, Melanie's oldest son was playing nearby with his friends and brought a little girl home with him in tears. "Who is this, and what happened?" she asked worriedly. "This is Elizabeth. She was running from a dog that attacked her, and I saved her," he answered proudly. He said he saw the girl running out of an alley with a dog chasing her. He grabbed a stick and drove off the dog. "Wow," Melanie exhaled. "What's your name?" she asked the girl.
"Elizabeth Dawson," she answered, wiping away tears.
"Did the dog bite you?" she asked, looking over the child.
"No, I was just scared, and I don't know how to get home. My dad will be home soon, and I won't be there. He's gonna worry," she hiccuped again.
We'll find your home, don't worry, Melanie said, calming her down. She went to Evelyn to see if she knew anyone with the Dawson name.
Of course I do, Evelyn shuddered. This is probably the daughter of the unfortunate Aaron Dawson, a veterinarian who lives in the next block.
Why unfortunate? Melanie asked.
He's had a hard life. He loved his wife, but she married him just to get back at her ex. When she got pregnant, Aaron carried her and then carried his daughter when she was born. Soon after, she left Aaron and the child. Aaron is an amazing father, and despite his broken heart, he raised that child. She came back, but not because she loved him and missed him, but because her ex left her. Aaron forgave her and took her back. However, she killed herself 6 months later. In her note, she wrote she never loved Aaron, and she was never happy with him. She wrote she couldn't live without the man who left her. Susan talked with her and was a gossip, so I know everything.
Evelyn told Melanie how to find the Dawson home. When they were getting close, Melanie saw a man running around the street looking everywhere. "Aaron!" Melanie yelled. He looked at her. She said what had happened and that Elizabeth is at her house. When he heard his daughter was okay, he sighed in relief. "I never leave Liz alone, but my neighbor called and asked me to look at her cat quickly, who was feeling bad since this morning. I thought nothing would happen if Liz played in the garden for 20 minutes.
Let's go, Evelyn suggested. I made dinner and a pie.
They all talked about what happened to Elizabeth over dinner and how brave Melanie's oldest son was. Melanie and Aaron liked each other, and they soon developed feelings. After a year, they decided to get married. Evelyn was getting worse every day. No matter how hard Melanie tried, she wasn't getting better. One day, she called Melanie and said, "There's a secret stash in the basement with all the family valuables."
It's all that's left from my rich ancestors. I kept them safe and only took from it in emergencies. It's yours now. It's my time. I'm almost 100 years old.
After a couple of days, Evelyn died. Melanie and Aaron found the stash of valuables. After selling them, Melanie organized a good funeral for Evelyn and used the rest to build a home. Now they have a big family after all. One day, the phone rang. It was Melanie's ex. He said he was sorry about what happened. He blamed it on youth, but he had had his fill and was ready to come back. However, Melanie said she had remarried. She had a husband that she loved, 4 wonderful children, and there was a 5th on the way. She told him to forget about her and the kids like before and to never call again.